Tim Votapka here with a very special edition of Around Salem. Unfortunately, neither me, I, or my guest tonight are at Salem in our camps with a beautiful sunset to look at. However, we have been very busy this past week or so. And without further ado, I want to introduce my good friend Ross Ogilvie, who is the chairman of what we call the EWM Committee. The EWM is Eurasian Water Milfoil Committee, and it is our charter and purpose to manage this nasty infestation and weed that has entered into our lake or lake system. And Ross, I wanted to get you right into this, and before I do ask you specific questions, this is all about some very good news that has to do with ARPA funding. But let's not go any further until we define what ARPA stands for and what it actually means. So if you could just take a minute to do that, that would be good.
Sure. The ARPA is the it is the American Rescue Plan Act. It was originally put out to as part of the Recovery Act to get us out of the COVID debacle, and originally it was sent out with some restrictions, but after several months, they lifted all the restrictions, and pretty much the select boards around town, at least in Vermont, the select boards could pretty much pick and choose what they wanted to do. And it did have some restrictions, but we fell within the restrictions.
Excellent, cool. So having done that, what exactly occurred? We were at a board meeting, a select board meeting at the village hall at Derby Township. Tell me quickly what happened here.
Actually, last summer we put in a request for some of the ARPA funds to help us with our funding of mitigating Eurasian milfoil in the lake, and they took that in. They looked at our request, and I guess in the last few weeks we got notice that they had potentially some questions. So we put together a response for the questions that we thought they had, and the questions were, basically how effective is Percellacor, and what's the cost of the Percellacor treatment, and what are the benefits to the people of Derby. So we addressed those directly, and this was Monday night. This past Monday night, we went in and they got to us pretty quickly, and spent about a half an hour there answering those questions and others, and basically presenting that.
Excellent. Basically, then they approved what exactly? I know the answer to this is a $75,000 allocation from that ARPA bucket. So what does that 75K apply to in terms of a period of time? And
so that was one of the things that actually we'd hope to clarify. By the way, that 75K, I really want to, assuming this reaches the public, really want to thank the select board for their support of our mitigation efforts here. It really is very, very helpful in keeping us going, and at least our first year. So in our requests, we had basically over the ARPA time period, which is we need to have spent all of the money through year by year, 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. We need to have spent all the money that they are going to give us through 2026. What we were asking for in 2023 was $127,500, or that's what we've budgeted. 2024 we've budgeted $27,500, 2025 $77,500, and 2026 $27,500. that first year of 2023, 127,500, that is what they were discussing last at the meeting this past Monday. It was just the first year of what they would be supporting us with in 2023, and that's what they to the tune of 75,000 towards our 127,000. So our fundraising committee is still active, and they were curious about how much we were coming up with on our own. In donations alone, we're probably talking about around $16,000 a year is what the fundraising committee can produce. And when you add to that grants, you get up to potentially $25,000 a year. So our next, so if we can come up with $20,000, $30,000, somewhere in there for over between now and next summer, we will meet our goal of 127,500. So anyway, that's kind of the financial discussion that we had with them, and again, very thankful for their support.
Absolutely. So now, obviously, money in the bank and all that has to yet occur, but what essentially does this enable the committee and the association as a whole with regard to the mitigation plan? What does this enable us to do short term, almost immediately, and then we'll talk about next year. So what is that? What's our very next action item?
Well, I think what we have, you mentioned in the bank, I think we have enough money to go forward and make plans, very specific plans now about how many acres we're going to treat and lock down a Procelicor supplier, get them lined up for next summer with the confidence that we have money. So we do have that locked down. We can move forward with the application and the plans, and that was something that we were kind of struggling with because we probably were only going to end up with about half the money we really needed, and which meant that our plans would change. We would no doubt cut back on the amount that we would treat of the lake. That's probably the lever we would pull to if we ran short on our funds.
Right. By the way, I just want to clarify, when we're looking to get bids and so forth, it's a Procelicor applicator probably is a better way to put it. So supplier is someone who supplies you the chemical, but the applicator is what we're really going for here, someone who actually is licensed and certified in the state of Vermont to do this. So minor point, but I wanted to make sure it's on the tape. So now that we've got, this major leapfrog in terms of funding, are private donations still a priority? I don't want anyone getting the idea that they're off the hook from a private donor standpoint.
Yeah, we still need a lot of funds. So we probably still need for the 2023, we probably still need at least $30,000 to meet our goals and treat everything that we're planning on. We have no visibility beyond that as to how much the town will donate and give us for funds. And so maybe $30,000 for 2023, and then we still have about a $30,000 budget that we're trying to meet for 2024. And we have to go back. We will be going back to the town probably this time next year to give them a status on how effective this has been. And that report card that we give to them will probably dictate a lot about how much we get for the following year for Procelicor.
Right.
And
Got it.
that'll be an ongoing every year kind of a thing.
Sure.
So yeah, we're definitely not off the hook. We definitely need as many funds as we can get to treat this, and I'm hopeful that if we can treat at least all of the dense, moderate, and right down to, and not potentially not treating the trace densities of the Eurasian milfoil, if we can treat all of that with Procelicor, then we can hand pull hopefully the trace parts next summer, and maybe as far as treating goes, we could get it right down to hopefully nothing. We're not going to ever get rid of it probably, but we should be able to get it down to hand pulling, I hope. And that's kind of my thought on where we might be next summer, towards the end of the summer.
Sure. And we will definitely have no problem tracking our progress as this gets applied, because while that still has to go to our own board for final approval, in terms of application, I just know from firsthand experience that this infestation is thick. It's easy to spot even as late as October. And being able to see how effective it is in other lakes, like Lake Iroquois recently gave us a great success story. We should have no problem finding what progress we have made on this war against this infectious and nasty colony of weed and species. And
Invasive
it is a
species.
5-year deal. This is
So
not one shop stop. This is not a 1 gig, apply it and go. This is a 5-year type plan we're looking at.
Yeah. And one of the things I think that would be very helpful, and if we could have had more people around the lake support us in going out and looking for Eurasian milfoil, finding it when it's just a couple plants so that we can hand pull it is extremely valuable. And I hope to be able to get the VIPs around the lake and stuff ready to really go out and engage and snorkel and boat and everything else looking for Eurasian milfoil, and pointing it out to us so that we can act quickly and deal with it. Hopefully we get it down after we apply this stuff next summer. Hopefully we can get it down to the point where we really are just dealing with hand pulling.
Yeah. From what I understand, there will be not just one technique or tactic against this spread. It basically is a 3-pronged approach, and that's what we've been looking at as we've been confronting this.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, in our plans, our financial plans, we have a significant chunk of money, $100,000, currently earmarked for 2023 for the Procelicor treatment. We have none in 2024. We hope that it's all able to be dealt with hand pulling. One of the things I will say is in each of these years, we do need surveys, which aren't cheap. So we need plant surveys, and those will be those cost a fair amount.
Sure.
But then in the 2025, we do have another chunk of money, $50,000 put aside for the Procelicor treatment. So we'll see. We're quite hopeful that it'll be as effective as it was in Lake Iroquois, but we do have a different lake than Iroquois. It's very similar, but it's a different lake.
Absolutely. Well, the fact that this comes at this time of year when when the vast majority of camp owners and property owners and even committee members are not physically in the Salem area, it was very fortunate that you were able to attend this meeting along with T.J. Jackman and represent us. So I really do appreciate you being around for that.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Anything else you want to add to this before we sign off?
Um, there was one thing that came up. We have in our plans, we do have dash for every year, 2023 to 2026. We have dash dollars put aside for dash. I'm not sure exactly how this will schedule and pan out and stuff. We will spend that if needed. But one of the things that just came up recently with a summary of our dash expenses this summer is dash is about 4x the cost of Percelicor per acre, what we currently understand it to be. We are about to go to bid now. Those were early projections from the treatment companies. But dash right now, again, per acre is looking against those early estimates that they gave us. It's like 4x the cost of the Percelicor. So whatever we can do with Percelicor, I think is more cost effective than with the dash.
Right.
But with scheduling and who knows what, I'm not sure exactly how that'll all pan out, but we will certainly fall back on dash if needed. But Percelicor definitely looks like the cheapest way to go per acre.
Certainly the most efficacious and economical. And if you've just, for the first time, heard about milfoil here at Salem or in Vermont, and you're brand new to this entire issue, DASH stands for Diver Assisted Suction Harvesting. It is not a company, it is not a boat per se, though a boat is involved. It's a technique that is using a modified, and I'll put up a picture of this from the summer. It's a modified pontoon boat that has suction material that almost looks like they're prospecting for gold underwater. So a diver goes down and performs basically a large vacuuming on the bottom of the area that they are working in, and it pulls up, and they are able to sift and sort out the invasive species of plant, in this case the milfoil, from other native indigenous species. So that's what DASH is. I just want to make sure that just in case anybody who is just brand new to this doesn't have a misunderstood phrase there. So again, Ross, on behalf of the committee, and I know I'm on it, so we all are breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief here, and we're very grateful, and we're looking forward to the next milestone.
Yes, and actually, I want to shout out to the committee. The committee has been incredible in supporting these efforts and pulling together. And Tim, you also in your support of the documenting everything that's going on here. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody, and thanks to the select board for their support. And hopefully the plans pan out and we get rid of this stuff next summer.
And just so that they're not left out, the committee is, besides yourself and myself, TJ, we already mentioned, Ed Wells, the association vice president, is also on this committee, as well as Matt Hammond, who is my neighbor when we're up there at the lake. So I didn't want to leave anybody out. All right, sir. Well, listen, I took up a lot of your time. I really appreciate, getting the briefing on this, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Yeah. Take care.